Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 3 of UPC. You are here with Coach Oak. This is, as I said, Season 3 of UPC after a unfortunate ending to last season in the semifinals, and an even more unfortunate ending to Season 1, just missing the playoffs. We are looking to have at least an unfortunate ending in the finals. More likely going to end up being an unfortunate ending in round 1 of the playoffs, because that's just what I do in most leagues. But you guys hold with me. I normally make it. There. I just, get destroyed when I get there. But this is your Iki Tennyson Roar Season 3 of the UPC team. This is your draft analysis. We're going to go through what I picked and why I picked it. Sometimes that why I picked it is very sparse with this team. Unlike the DGBA where the draft went well and things went pretty and actually ended up kind of how I liked it, this one did not. These were kind of going on at the same time. This was about a day or two removed behind, but it was a tier draft this time instead of a money draft, with the addition of Ubers in the S and A tiers as well. Other than that, more like the base was kind of GBA style tiering, but like it's gone far, like it's our own tiering. But that kind of idea, with free points, etc., etc. Don't worry about it. My team's legal. Yeah. We start out with the 4th pick. Mewtwo is something I really wanted to use last season. I did not want to use it this season. I had my eye on a couple other things. But we have picked up Mewtwo at the number 4 pick. It felt too strong to let go. A lot of things it can do. Not a mon I've ever used a ton of. I've used its Mega in Ubers, Mega Y, but never really used the base. However, I know what it gets, I know what it does, and it's got a lot of flexibility. This is kind of going to be a mon that's like Tapu Koko last season a little bit, but to a greater extent. It kind of just depends on how well I use it. I went okay with Koko, and same speed tier, so we'll see how this goes with Mewtwo. Looking forward to trying this buddy out. Next up, we have Blacephalon. Charleston is here in both leagues, guys. Yeah, my plan kind of, my original like 5, 7, 12 plans were all kind of blown before Mewtwo. And then but by the time my next game pick came around, my like next 6, 7, 5, 12 plans were all destroyed. Because this was supposed to be Mega Mawile. I was going for that Mega Mawile Hydreigon core I want. Again, every time I try for that thing, it goes badly. And all my backups for Mega Mawile went too. So we made a new draft plan, and here is the Blacephalon. I will learn how to use this thing, I guess, because I'm sure better, because I invested a 2nd round pick in both UPC and DGBA to pick this buddy up. So it's time to work on my dancing skills and get that Charleston going before those seasons are up. We picked up a Bisharp. Checkmate the Bisharp is here. I should have mentioned Mewtwo S tier, the Blacephalon tier 1, Bisharp tier 2. So primarily I wanted a really good dark type. Help pair with that Mewtwo. And I feel like Mewtwo really does help Bisharp out, and I feel like Bisharp can help out the Mewtwo. And Bisharp is something I used for literally 1 week in the NBA before it went defunct. So it's a mon I've been wanting to use again because it did good work. So if mon I want to use again, and in this spot, I thought it kind of fit. So we went ahead and grabbed Bisharp here. You will see a little bit of a 4 times weakness game coming a little bit later, but this is the first. But I think I have the things that I can kind of deal with this pretty well, with that weakness, and as we'll see as we go through it, and as we've seen, Mewtwo is one of the biggest helps to that. Also a strong form of priority, which is very nice. And it's a little bit slower threat, and first big physical threat, as the other two have been big special threats, more so. That can do some physical things, but. Next up, we get Castling. So we have Checkmate and Castling. These are protecting our Royal Guard, that we'll see a little bit more of as we go on, but Terrakion supports Mewtwo really, really well. And now I'll mention as well, Mewtwo and Terrakion are both my Z users for the season. Big physical threat, big special threat. Both have decent speed. Tracheon can set up the rock polish as well to make his speed go real fast. Yeah, so this is what we're looking at here in terms of Z users. Tracheon with the Justified makes teams think a really long second before clicking a Dark type move against that Mewtwo, because the threat of giving this thing an attack boost on a resisted hit is scary. Tracheon helping deal with the Bug types, Dark types, kind of goes neutral against Ghost. You know, kind of those things that, and it's not super weak to flying either, so it's a half decent flying check depending on the flying type. Obviously, if it's faster, it could be a bit of a problem if it's a fast breaker. But we've got some things here. Yeah, it's got decent coverage for Z moves. Obviously, Mewtwo was really good. Terrakion, something I've never really used, but I've always liked. This is the first time it really felt like it fit the plan. Normally, I always felt like I was spending too much. I don't tend to like spending a lot of money on my fighting, or a lot of money, or a lot of investment into my fighting types. I feel like there's a lot of bargains lower, but this is one case where I really didn't mind going big tier 1 into that fighting type. As well as second season in a row, I've gone to tier 1 with my rock types, which is interesting because that's not something I do normally either, but two of the best in Nihilego last season and Terrakion this season. So we will see how it goes. In a Bisharp, don't really help each other out at all, but it does complete the fighting Dark and, well, I mean, the Psychic. It obviously helps out with Psychic, but fighting Dark and Psychic core is complete with those. So that is kind of what I built this team around, was that big fighting Dark core. And when I get that core, I always want to get a good Ghost and normal type. Blacephalon obviously being a very good Ghost. We'll see the normal type later in this draft. We have Evilise is the Nidoqueen, and part of that royal contingent we talked about. Nidoqueen, a mod I want to try out. One of the Nidos, I feel like Nidoqueen fit better on this team, just because I already kind of have breakers. I wanted something a little bulkier. Bulky Poison to help out against fighting types is really nice as well. Black Sludge is very nice, good coverage. It can be run offensive, it can be run physical and special. I tend to run mine physical. People tend to run it special though, but that's just preference and matchups. It will be very matchup dependent. It can be very interesting bulk spreads on this on Nidoqueen. So looking forward to using it. Something I know how to use, but also I almost always use Nidoking because I love Nidoking, and I don't love Nidoqueen's design near as much. But I think for this team, it's definitely the better choice, and I'm looking forward to it. And I don't think Nidoking was actually drafted, so if I feel the need, I can always go a little more offensive there later with a free agent, potential free agent. Next up, we picked up Skillsaw, the Haxorus. This was another case of I got sniped, and I don't remember what I got sniped from at this time. I got sniped a lot, guys. Like, literally, I had 4 pages of draft kind of planning and stuff to make the team I wanted, then it got taken, and then I moved it out of that doc, so I had the 4 pages, and then spent another, like, at one point, like, 9 rounds into the draft, I had 4 draft plans pinned, and it, like, not old ones, like active ones, I was getting rid of them, this was just not a fun draft, guys. But anyways, Haxorus, never something I've used in draft, something I've always considered using in draft. I think out of tier 3, this is a big threat. 2 physical breakers in my Dragon and Steel so far, so we'll have to see what I do with that Fairy type as well. But we have 2 kind of big physical breakers, good setup here. With that Dragon Dance, it becomes real mean boy. The Mold Breaker is very nice for it. Also gives a Nerve, which can be nice in certain matchups, if there's nothing you really need to Mold Breaker for. Yeah, Haxorus is an interesting mod. I'm looking forward to using. I'm kind of looking. I've got Tyrantrum in the DGBA, but we're looking at kind of big Dragon Dancers here. Offensive Dragons, which isn't always the way I go. But I mean, obviously Mega Mance last season. This is not Mega Mance, but this will do some mean things. More looking to use Dragon and coverage as well. So we'll see how Haxorus, Skillsaw the Haxorus, will do this season. But I feel solid about it. It was one I wasn't really looking at, but once I kind of switched this team from, originally this team was super slow, and a kind of trick room with a fast mode type team. Now this team is just gotta go fast, gotta hit hard. Which, I mean, that's kind of more my style, although I do love Trick Room. I love Trick Room. But anyways, next off we have the boss. Context to the nickname. I call Suicune Charlotte and Entei Becky Lynch, or just Becky, or just Lynch, any of the three. So this is the boss, Sasha Banks, with the purple hair. Kind of makes sense, part of the trio. I don't know who Bailey is, but we'll figure that out. Bailey will get a... I don't know who Bailey is. Maybe Lugia. Lugia looks like he wants to hug you. I don't know. I mean, Ho-Oh has more to do with these. Anyways, moving on. Not distracted. People who don't know if any of those are wrestlers. It's a group of wrestlers, female wrestlers. This is the boss, based off Sasha Banks, the nickname. But yeah, Raikou is here. Raikou is a mon that got dropped to tier 2 this season, which made me, even though I've always thought it's very overrated as a tier 1, suddenly piqued my interest out of that tier 2. I've kind of been on, the past few months, been on a mission to use all of the fast electric types and try them all out. Raikou's next on the list, guys. I've kind of been just, fast electric types and I have a very back and forth relationship. This is kind of me going through the list as well. I know Electrode still needs to be used, poor thing. I had it, but I didn't want to run a Z Electrode. But we have Raikou here, so spending a tier 2 on this as well. So I have spent a lot of points, however I still have my A tier to go. But at this point we're looking at the low tiers coming up very soon. Yeah, so we have Raikou. Looking forward to using it. Lost a little bit of synergy I had with it that I had picked later in the draft, but I think things ended up all right. It'll be interesting. It is well designed. I normally think it doesn't hit hard enough, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Here's that normal type we talked about. It's it's Audino. Maybe I'll call it You Already Know. I don't know. Something like that. Something not very punny. But attempting to be punny. Audino is something I feel like has a lot of use, but gets overshadowed in a lot of ways. So for me, like, this has been in every version of the plan basically, but it's a really good wish passer, which I really wanted for Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is the big one right now. We'll see another really big one later, but other ones obviously like wish bashing. Everything likes wish bashing. Healing Wish. Trick Room with a regenerator. It's a really good wish passer because of that regenerator. So you can put up a wish, take a hit. It's pretty bulky. Normal type is a decent defensive typing. So it can put up that wish and then get out and heal itself at least part of the way back in most cases. Also could be a slow defensive Calm Mind sweeper, which will be interesting to see if that ever comes. I hope it does, but it might end up being like the Slurpuff Cotton Guard Calm Mind set that I always wanted to bring but never did. In the last 2 seasons, but yeah, so I know, and obviously Heal Bell as well, and it's a good cleric. It's a really good cleric. Can do some other things, but it's a really good cleric, guys. That's what it is. It's here to do that. Tier 5, play your role, boy. We have AJ Styles. Scyther is here. So this was originally Beartic, but I did give that a sketch. Fit his team a little better because he had the rain. So I tweaked things a lot. But yeah, this wasn't really Beartic. It's not Beartic anymore. This is Scyther. Scyther was a mon that was already in my draft plan, but we moved some other stuff to when Beartic left. Alright, so Scyther. Scyther is obviously a very fun mon, very cool mon, but doesn't get a lot of use. But with Technician, it can hit decently hard. 105 speed is kind of fast. I think it's 110 attack. Might be 100. I know it's at least 100, but pretty good attack, decent bulk, and when the effect you can add a Violate to this, it can get really bulky. Bug Flying, not the best bulk typing, but I need a flying typing. It's a flying type I trust. Obviously it hates rocks, but it can roost, and it can defog them away with a Violate. You'd have to roost first, but you could theoretically be in an okay spot to do that, even with the rocks up. Not if that's something it wants to do a lot of the time. Good Technician. Some good moves like Knockoff and stuff like that. That even though it's not Technician boosted, like it's gonna do some some damage. It gets decent flying stat because of the Technician. Without it, it'd be pretty useless on flying. But kind of bulky, kind of offensive flying type, kind of fit with the speed tiers and stuff as well. And a mon I like. I kind of want to use. At this point in the draft, I was really not having it, so it was time to take mons I liked and make them work. Scyther being the first of those. Next pick is the mon I don't overly like, but it fit the draft plan really well. I needed a fairy, I needed a water, I needed some more defog because Scyther is not doing it by itself. So we picked up Tapu Fini. This is a tier 1, but we are using it as our A tier, which gets us 40 extra points, which will allow us to pick up one of the next mons on our list. Or do we only have one left? No, there's 2 left. Pick up the next mon on our list. No, not the next one. Second next one. I don't know. Whatever. Tapu Fini. So, obviously really likes Wish Passing as well. So our fire and water and grass core. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. The second video straight I've recorded. Yeah, so we now have Blacephalon and Tapu Fini, so that's a good start to that core. Obviously, I can't afford a really top grass type, but we will make that work, as you will see in a minute. Fairy type, this will go nice defensive fairy to go with the offensive Haxorus and Bisharp. So, I mean, typically you want to go 2 defensive, 1 offensive, but let's be honest, this is me here, guys. I'm pretty offensive. Let's go. Tapu Fini can also still Combine setup and things like that. It can do some mean things with a Pinch Berry or lefties. The Misty Terrain can help in some matchups and will hurt in others, but I do have the option to bring the hidden ability Telepathy. This is the unbanned Pokemon Classic. So that is an option if absolutely needed. I don't foresee doing it a lot. I don't really have a ton of hazard stack or anything like that. I do have T-Spikes on Nido. Nido is my good hazard mon. I have others as well, but that's my main one. But I don't foresee stacking hazards too often. But if the matchup pertains and Fini pertains, we can always run Telepathy. No big deal. So Misty Terrain will help out things like Haxorus, though. Bisharp, that won't let them get burned. Which will be big, as well as not letting Mewtwo get paralyzed, things like that. So that's helpful. But yeah, bulky water type, bulky fairy type, defog, and can do some offense itself. Was kind of the main thought process here. Never used Tapu Fini in any format of anything. I've used all the other Tapus. I've used a lot of Bulu, and a lot of Bulu, Coco a lot. Never, a little bit of Lele, never Fini. So this will be interesting. Another mon to add to the repertoire of things I know more about. Learning is fun, guys. Next up, we have the Faces of Kanto. Oh, I almost said Alolan. Not Alolan. The non-Alolan standard Cantonian Executor. Who has, if you go by the cool theories, has lost its Dragon type to get Psychic type, and not the other way around of losing its Psychic type when it became a Alolan, but that's for another day. I'm sure you'll find that theory somewhere if you like Pokemon stuff, but basically, yeah, check it out. You'll find it. You'll just search it. I'm sure you'll find it. I like Cantonian Executor. I've done good things with it in the past, not necessarily in draft, but in other formats, some online tournaments, things like that. It's been a real clutch player. On my absolute favorite team I've ever built, which was a triples team, was for one of the classics back in the ORAS days, which involved this being both a Sun Sweeper and a Trick Room setter. Very me, I know. If you know my doubles and triples style, very, very me. Weather, I love Weather, and I love Trick Room, and I love both. I mean both. So this was both of those. Very good attacker. Secondary Wishmon, which people forget it gets Wish, and it's almost as bulky as Odd Nose Wish. Typing is not the best, but I was kind of covering a lot of bug weaknesses, which is the big one for it, because I have Mewtwo, right? So I'm kind of covering a lot of that stuff. That stuff's already going to be brought from Mewtwo. It's going to be brought a little bit more by the secondary Psychic typing, but that's okay. And yeah, no, maybe we'll run, I don't know if anything on my team gets Psychic Train. I honestly haven't looked. But maybe we'll run some Psychic Train shenanigans some week, something like that. Also gets Trick Room, and can be a Trick Room sweeper. So I do have 2 Trick Rooms. I don't have the slowest of things, but like Bisharp, if I run it slow some week to catch somebody off, things like that, right? This team was originally really slow. I like having a Trick Room. I don't feel comfortable if I don't have a Trick Room mode on my team. So I do have that mode. I could run Sun as well. Not the best Sun synergy on my team. Like Raikou has Weather Ball, which would be nice some week to help it out with some Steel type, like I don't know, Steelix or something. If the rest of the matchup pertains, it does get Aurora Sphere, but you know I don't know. You never know. But it could go Chlorophyll and go fast and go on a rampage as well. Solid Grass type out of Tier 5 when that's all you can afford. This is my favorite to use, and I think it has a lot of usages as well. We'll see. You never know. It might not hang around, but for now, with what I could afford, this was the place to go. I completely missed a Mon on here, guys. I completely missed a Mon when I made this. There is one more Mon on this team. That Mon, I drafted Moltres in a moment of crazy. I dropped it for a Alolan Persian to trade for LINOONE, boys. LINOONE is on this team. I am sorry. I don't know how I forgot to put it here. I'm actually really excited about LINOONE. LINOONE is on this team as well. It was the Mon I wanted. Then I got franchised and I was sad. And then the person who franchised it changed their mind about it and looked to trade it. I was able to trade for it. I did use one of my trades for the season, but that is fine. A LINOONE is... I always like having that, like, click, setup, and win type Mon. And I know Bisharp and Haxorus kind of can, and maybe you'd argue Mewtwo, although it doesn't get Nasty Plot, which is annoying because it should. But with Calm Mind or things like Rock Polish, like I do have some setup. Actually, I have a lot of setup. I didn't realize how much setup I have, guys. This wasn't supposed to be a setup team. But Calm Mind Finny, Calm Mind Mewtwo, Sword Stance on Bisharp, Chlorophyll Executor, Calm Mind Raikou, Rock Polish Sword Stance Terrakion, Sword Stance, I believe Agility as well on Scyther. Audino is a Calm Mind, could be a Calm Mind sweeper. DD Haxorus, Beast Boosting / Calm Mind, but I don't think you'd ever run Calm Mind. On Blacephalon. Poor Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's gotta get something. Guys, comment down below what Nidoqueen gets to set up. Nidoqueen needs something to set up. But we have Belly Drum, Slurpuff. Not Slurpuff. That was the last two seasons. Guys, that was not meant to be a joke. That just slipped out. We have Belly Drum LINOONE. With the new Stomping Tantrum is awesome. Also decent coverage, decently fast. With the Gluttony ability, once it gets that Belly Drum, it goes to full health. It does not get the Unburden, but it goes to full health. And extreme speed. It gets very mean boy with extreme speed. Actually, something I've been using in like VGC even. Even in VGC, I've been using LINOONE, so I'm excited that the bakery might be closed, but LINOONE's deli is open, boys. It is time for UPC Season 3 to take away. Stay tuned to the channel. Later today will be the first week of the DGBA is coming up. I know I've talked about both. They're both kind of my main leagues. They're both going on at the same time. I'm sure I'm getting viewers from both of them anyways. And I'm sure because you're the best viewers ever, you're watching both all the time anyways. And because of that, I'm going to wish you a great day because Coach Oak said so, and I will see you all very soon with another Draft League battle.